Hello, my dear church boys, and welcome back to St. Robert's Daygame podcast. And in this podcast episode, I am talking to James. James had Daygame for more or less 2 years, and he had very similar beliefs that many beginning Daygamers have. But for all the work he had done over the 2 years, he had very little to show for it. He realized he can keep doing the same things he has been doing, he can believe the same things he believed about Daygame, or he can look the reality in the eye, understand that something isn't working, he has to change something, and that's what he chose to do. And after changing just a few things in the way he daygames and in what he believes, he got 4 daygame lays in the following 4 months. In this conversation, James shares his story, what were the things he was doing and things he was believing before, what were the few things he changed to start getting results, and where he is right now in his daygame journey. If after listening to this you want to ask James some additional questions, he is on our Daygame Church Telegram group chat where we have more than 400 daygamers from literally all over the world. And you can join the group chat by clicking the link in the description, filling the form there, joining the mailing list, and you will receive the invitation link to join the chat in the welcome email. You'll hear James telling that one of the things he had to fix was the way he behaves on date. He had to learn to escalate better. And if that's something you're also struggling with, then I have published a free course where you can learn everything you need to do about what to do on dates. The course is available for free on daygamecourses.com. And the last thing I wanted to share before we jump into the conversation with James, in a few months in March, I am heading to Mexico because it's spring break and a bunch of American college girls are going down to Mexico to party. And you can imagine how good the day game there is gonna be if you know what you're doing. I will have 2 coaching spots available while I will be there. So if the idea about learning day game in a nice beach town that's full with American college girls during the day and then sipping margaritas in a beach bar in the evening sounds like a good plan, then you can click on a link in the description to learn more about how coaching with me usually works. You can fill the form at the bottom of the page, just mention you're interested in Mexico, and I'll send you all the details, the city, the dates, the prices, etc. And now let's jump into the conversation with James. Well, James, let's start with some basics because daygamers come in all sizes and ages and backgrounds and personality types, etc. So maybe give guys a little background information on you, more or less. How old are you? Where are you located? What do you do, etc.
Hi. So I'm in my late 30s. I live in a mid-sized city in France. I'm a French-born Asian guy. I work in marketing sales, and I am location independent.
Location independent. Does it mean you've daygamed in many locations, or has it mostly been in France, or what's the story with that?
Well, I daygamed mainly in France and Lisbon, Portugal, and I also daygamed a little bit in Spain and in Ukraine as well.
So you've been to quite a few places in Europe. So maybe let's start with you said you're late 30s. So how did you discover Daygame? How did all of this start?
Well, I've always been into the concept of high agency, which means having the ability to do stuff that most people will say is impossible. And among the types of high agency things I wanted to do, on top of my list was, become location independent, which is something I achieved before it became fashionable. And also, when I see a girl I like in real life, just have the ball to go and approach her instead of just going on Tinder and Instagram and hoping to get lucky. So this is why I went to Daygame specifically.
Maybe before we jump into the Daygame, you said you became location independent before it became fashionable. So how long have you been location independent?
I've been location independent for a bit more than 5 years.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of before COVID, because a
Mm-mm.
lot of people
Yeah.
started when COVID started, because that's when a lot of people could kind of do that, and you did it
Hmm.
earlier. So you decided Daygame is one more of those things that many people believe is impossible. How long ago did you start?
So I started about two years and a half ago. I've started in Portugal. So basically, I've just bought a course online about how to approach girls on the street, and I just started to do very bad approaches.
Why were they bad? How
Well,
or how did you know, or when and how did you realize that the approaches you were doing were bad?
I think I realized pretty quickly, but the problem was I didn't know what was bad about them. And in retrospect, I didn't have structure. So basically, I didn't have specific steps and details about how to carry myself, which kind of things I should say. So it was a lot of freestyle, and obviously this is not well. This doesn't work too well for most guys who are getting into day game.
And so you started 2.5 years ago. When did you get your first day game lay?
I got my first day game lay this summer, so way after getting started in day game. So I had maybe 2 years of doing day game on and off, like trying to do it and then being like, oh shit, this doesn't work. I'm stopping and then resuming again 3 to 6 months after. So it's been this cycle of hype and depression with day game.
Well, listen, James, a lot of people go through what you went through. I think most day gamers are day gaming on and off for years. They're trying to figure out how this works, and then they see, oh fuck, this doesn't work, and then they quit, and then they find something new, and then they try that again, and that doesn't work. So you did a lot during those 2 years, I assume. So what happened last summer? How did you finally get your first day game? Like, what had changed?
Yeah. So yeah, just to give you some details, during the first 2 years, I didn't do that much. I think I did about 300 sets, which is a very low volume. And yeah, about 6 months ago, I thought, okay, like you're not getting late, you're not having results. Well, I had a few makeouts, I had a few dates, but like I haven't been able to getting late. So I was like, okay, it's either you just stop doing this or you get serious about it. So I decided to so-called turn pro. It's a concept by Steven Pressfield. So the amateur, like he just does the thing when he feels like doing it. But when it's raining, he doesn't do it. Or when it's hard or when it doesn't feel like it, he doesn't do it. And I decided, okay, fuck it. I'm going to turn pro and I'm going to put in some volume. So I decided, okay, I'm going to do 25 sets per week. I'm going to record my sets. If it rains, I'm going to day game anyway. If I don't feel like it, I'm going to day game anyway. So I started to do this in June 2022. And 10 weeks after, I had my first day game lay. So I think it really shows that just by, being consistent, you can get results.
Was there anything else that changed in your game apart from being consistent?
Well, I also changed the material I was using. During my first 2 years, I thought that natural game would work, which didn't. And yeah, big surprise. Yeah. And then, like a friend of mine told me about you. I saw your YouTube channel. And to be completely honest, when I saw the copy and paste lines, I was like, oh, that's very unnatural. Like, I couldn't do this and blah, blah, blah. But after a few months of still not getting results, I was okay, I'm just going to give it a try. And right away, I started having some encouraging results. Like I started having girls hooking, being interested in me, and going on dates. So yeah, applying the right material is obviously something that helped me.
Yeah, and by the way, just for the guys listening, I wanted to explain one thing between kind of this battle between natural game and structured game. I'm not saying that the ideal game is day game is structured and with copy paste lines, but I think that the end goal is to become a natural, is to be able to just, while still sticking to more or less structure, kind of, okay, this is opening, this is working on attraction, then on comfort, and then closing, while still sticking to that framework. But being able to improvise and talk about whatever topics without necessarily copy paste stories. But I think that getting there is super, super hard because guys don't understand what works and what doesn't. And that's where the structural game comes in. Structured game, I think, is the best way to learn. But then when guys really, really understand how things work and not understand in their head in theory, but understand in a way that they've proven that with their results, that being, I think a guy really, really understands day game when he's at maybe like 30 day game lays, but he can start dropping the model a little bit sooner. And then, of course, we drop the training wheels, we drop the structure, we drop the copy paste stuff, and we kind of move to that natural format. So I just didn't want the guys to get an impression that copy paste lines is what you do forever, even though that is the best way to learn day game in my eyes. Okay. And you were day gaming the last summer. You were day gaming in Lisbon, or where was that?
Yeah, I was day gaming in Lisbon, which is a cool place to day game, actually.
I know that Lisbon has become kind of like it's appeared on a map. Did you meet many day gamers there, or what was how busy was it?
Well, I've met
You met
one
Pablito
guy through the chat. Yeah, I met Pablito through the chat. He became a friend, and the wing was amazing. I met 2 day gamers by accident, and I became friends with one of them. So, gaming 3 months and just meeting by accident 2 day gamers, to me, doesn't mean that the city is overcrowded with day gamers.
Yeah, okay, that's good to hear. So you said that one of the biggest struggles you had was, or not really struggles, but the problem was that you were day gaming on off, you were trying kind of this, trying that, you were mostly using kind of natural approach, and that didn't work. Were there any other big struggles that you were going through before you got your first play?
Well, yeah, like when I started with the London day game model, I think my biggest struggle was not in the verbal game. It was mostly in my sub-communication. I've been working a lot to stop being Mr. Nice Guy, but in my sets, and still up to today, sometimes I can have a bit of a nice guy vibe, meaning like a voice that's not like super low, too fast, saying yes, and always agreeing with the girl or laughing nervously. And I feel that turning those things down while at the same time increasing my level of intent helped me a lot to get to my first lay.
How did you stop, or how did you become less of a nice guy, if that was a problem for you?
Well, I read the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy, but it didn't help. What helped? Yeah. I think there are some things that you cannot really learn by reading books, and I'm a huge nerd with books. The thing that helped me the most was, approaching, recording all my sets, and then listening to my sets and sending my sets to a more experienced friend who will tell me, hey, this is not good, this is not good, this is not good, blah, blah, blah. And I will also listen to my sets and cringe. Oh my God, this is really shit. I really don't want to do this. And, just doing this, your brain realizes, okay, there's proper way to doing this. And so let's do it on the next set. And then in the beginning, it's a bit unnatural. For example, at some point, I was making a point to challenge the girl, to say something in the lines of, you like hiking. I actually don't like hiking. Like, why do you like it? In the beginning, it felt very wrong to do this because I'm a very, agreeable guy in all of this. But later on, it became more second nature, and now it's easier to do this. When I feel like disagreeing with a girl, it's very easy to do so. While before, it was almost impossible.
Okay. Was there anything else you did to become less of a nice guy, or was it mostly just recording your sets, practicing things like challenging, probably qualification questions, and that's it?
Watching some movies with some badass guys. like modeling James Bond, for example. James Bond is not a nice guy. And just thinking, okay, how would he approach the girl? Would he do a very big smile and being all agreeable and stuff? Or would it be like dominant with a little smirk and extremely confident of himself?
Oh, interesting. I've never actually thought about that. Any other movies that come to mind, or just James Bond?
No, I think James Bond is really my inspiration.
Okay, so one of the challenges was you were a bit too much of a nice guy. Were you facing any other challenges that you had to overcome to get your first Daygame lays?
Yeah. Dates, date models, date escalation. It was either being too much of a nice guy, or talking about nerdy topics, or talking about very emotional or serious topics. And so obviously it would put the vibe down a lot. And also my escalation was very clunky. So it was either not escalating at all and having the girl feel like I'm a gay, or just over escalating like crazy and having the girl feel like, oh my God, this guy is completely crazy.
How did you learn to fix your escalation? Because that's a very, very common problem, either being too slow or super, super fast. So how did you fix that?
Well, watching the material over and over and over again. Your material, the material from Tom Torero, Nick Rosa, and after every date, really analyzing what I did. Okay, I did this, I did that, and I will always make a mistake. So I will always say, okay, I'm never going to make this mistake again.
So basically, you were doing the same thing I was doing. You were geeking out on everything you were doing, whether that is in sets or whether that's what happened on dates or.
Exactly.
So where is your game now? Because this isn't one of those stories of, hey, look at this guy. He was starting like years ago and now he has like 50 Daygame lays. You are still a beginner. You're still starting out. You're a few lays in. So where are you in your Daygame right now? What are the results you have so far?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I got my spreadsheet. So you guys going to have the details. So I've done exactly 1,010 approaches. I have 4 Daygame lays. It takes me 92 sets to get 1 lay. So this is like the ratio for a beginner. And my current bottleneck is that takes me lots of numbers to get a date. It takes me 7 numbers to get a date. So I need to work
James,
on this.
that isn't that bad actually. A typical date to number, a typical number to date conversion would be 5 to 1. It's completely normal to get 1 date out of 5 numbers. So if yours is 7 to 1, that isn't that bad. And you said you were at 4 lays, and then you said you it takes you 90 something opens to get a lay. I wanted to guys to understand, because if they do the math, they're like, wait, 4 lays and 1,000 sets, that's not 90 something to 1.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe let's go back to after how many sets did you get your first Daygame lay?
Yeah, absolutely. There is something I forgot. Like the Pablito told me, okay, after your first lay, you need to reset your stats, meaning that I started counting my lays, starting from the first lay. So my first lay was at approach 644. So post first lay means that I done 367 approaches, and out of these approaches, I got laid 4 times. So if you
so that doesn't include the first lay you got, right?
no, it does include it.
It does. Well, that's not really accurate. I would kind of say that if you start counting after the first lay, then the set that was the first set after the first lay is set number 1. And then we have like around 400 sets and 3 lays, and then it's accurate. Otherwise, you're kind of saying that, well, I did 50 sets before. Like, let's say I changed something in my game, then I did 100 sets. I got that first day game lay, and you're kind of discounting those first 100 sets.
Okay.
But yeah, if and in general, I like to look at stats in like let's say you just take last 500 sets you've done and then look at your stats during that period of time instead of kind of counting from a specific lay. Just say, okay, I'm going to look at the last 500 sets, and then that will give you a very kind of. I think if you look at 500 sets, then that's a fairly reliable data set when it comes to day game. Of course, the better you get, the more reliable it becomes because, well, but okay, that's but yeah, okay. So just so that guys understand, you were around 600 sets in when you got your first lay, and that's where the numbers come from. And then I remember you got the first day game because I was starting the online group coaching program. Which, by the way, I came up with the name today. It's going to be called Fast Track Daygamer.
Okay, I like it. Fast Track.
And I remember and I was doing a test group where I wanted to create a shorter version instead of 12 weeks. I wanted to create a 6-week program where guys would go through it, and we would just kind of look at, okay, does this idea that I came up with, does it work or not? And you were one of the guys who went through the test program. And I remember you got your first day game lay after signing off, but before we actually started the program.
Yeah. Okay.
And then...
Yeah, I actually got the first day game lay right before the program. And I got the second day game lay, which was a same day delay during the program.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because you got your first one before we started. Yeah. That's definitely so. You were one of the how do we call you? Guinea pigs.
Yeah, exactly.
You were one of the guinea pigs going through the program, testing whether it works. Can you share with the guys listening to this, what was your experience going through the program? Because you had weekly videos, you had Batman doing weekly coaching calls with you guys, kind of helping you through that. And what was your experience with that?
Well, it was really cool because I could have all my questions answered in a very precise fashion by Batman during the coaching calls. And it helped me a lot to first get better sets, better stories, better grounding, and maybe more importantly, have a smoother date escalation, because I remember at the moment I didn't escalate properly. And I really learned how to do it better, I think, through the advice during the calls. And I will say, sometimes you use a model, you use some material and stuff, and you do your sets, and sometimes you forget a bit some things. You're not conscientious enough. You forget about some details or some principles. And to me, the program was a forcing function to make sure I would have the fundamentals all fixed up. And I feel that in every area of competence, the fundamentals are the most important thing. If you have a 90% performance on the fundamentals, you're going to have most of the results. It's a Pareto distribution. And really, I feel during this program was really forcing function to really master those fundamentals and fix my basic mistakes I was doing at the time.
So I do have one question about the program, and I didn't tell you I was going to ask this question because I thought, well, then the answer is going to be more genuine. If you look back at the 6 weeks of the program that you did, what's one thing that you remember the most? Or the biggest kind of thing that kind of the biggest thing in your memory, the biggest, what left the biggest impression?
The biggest impression was the energy of the accountability. I was already being quite consistent before the program. Like I was doing my, 20, 25 sets per week. But during the program, it really inspired me to go a bit crazy. I had some weeks in which I did almost 50 sets. And it was like I was daygaming almost every day. And it was so much fun to share the stories with the guys every day. So yeah, this is my best memory of the program.
And you were kind of lucky that you were, I think at the same time where you were going through the beginning phases of the program, you were still in Lisbon. So you were hanging out with Pavlito a lot.
Yeah.
Because Pavlito, by the way, I don't know if you know that Pavlito is one of the guys coaching the program right now, because it's Batman and Pavlito. Both of them are coaching groups now.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's then move to a few more questions I wanted to ask you. Guys learn Daygame for different reasons. Some guys want to have just experiences with many girls and keep doing it forever. There are guys who Daygame because they want to find wife and they want to find that wife yesterday. And there are a bunch of guys who learn Daygame because they want to have fun for a few years, but then a few years down the line, they want to, after building up skill set, they want to find a girlfriend, maybe someone they don't have access to right now, and then gonna have a girlfriend later. Why are you in Daygame? What are your Daygame goals?
That's an interesting question. I think there are several reasons why. Well, first, I really want to have an abundance of very high quality women in my life, and I want to be the guy choosing rather than being chosen by girls. And I feel Daygame would be my foundation, my platform to get access to this abundance of women. And long term, I would like to have 1 or 2 girlfriends and several friends with benefits. But I wouldn't say it's the only motivation. Now I'm really passionate about this thing because I don't know, like it's a forcing function for improving yourself as a man. Like when you become a better daygamer, you become a man who's more disciplined, who's more decisive, who communicates better. Like for example, at the moment I've started to work on my voice on a daily basis. And obviously this is going to carry over all the areas in my life. Plus the game is very healthy. Like it's you walk around outside, you chat some girls, and you do this instead of being on your phone Tindering or night gaming, but drinking lots of alcohol and also going to bed very late. So yeah, I feel like Daygame is the perfect hobby.
I remember you also said that, I think it was you who said that one of the reasons to learn Daygame was to kind of take those skills that Daygame gives you and also use that in different settings, maybe in conferences or wherever you meet interesting people, so you can build better connections. Was this you who said it or was this someone else?
I think I said this. Yeah.
Okay. You said that you worked on your voice consistently every day. Do you mind sharing? How did you do that? What were maybe you read a book, maybe you did some kind of tasks or...
Yeah, well, I bought a program on Udemy called, I don't know, like 30 days to improve your voice. And the guy gave lots of exercises that sound a bit silly. Like, for example, you have to do things with your voice like, which sounds super, super silly, obviously. Or you have to read something and have a pen, and for every syllable, you're supposed to move the pen. So it actually forces you to speak slowly, because if you speak too fast, you're gonna move the pen very fast. And yeah, many many other small exercises that I do, about 10 to 20 minutes a day to improve it.
Okay, so guys, Udemy, 30 days to improve your voice. By the way, how much was the course?
I think it was maybe 20 euros or something.
Okay, so basically
super,
nothing.
voice, very cheap. Yeah.
Well, now that you've gotten your first lays, you're starting to get how things work. You've daygamed in different locations. So what's next in Daygame?
What's next in Daygame? Well, at the moment, I'm more focusing on business and health. And I think you cannot improve too many areas aggressively in the same time. So I decided to go a bit easier on Daygame at the moment. So I'm just going to do my 20 sets per week. Nothing special for the next few months. And later on, I will go hard on it again. And well, I don't know. The next step is to become intermediate and hopefully one day advanced. And that's it.
I think, it's cold season, so it kind of makes sense to kind of chill out with Daygame a little bit, maybe do a little bit lower volume on 20 sets a week. I think is totally fine for like upkeep. Let's call it like that. I think that's totally fine. And when the spring comes again, you can kind of hit it hard again. And I think, once you get to 8 Daygame lays, I think once a Daygamer gets to 8 Daygame lays, he has proven with real results that he understands Daygame fundamentals, because there are a lot of guys in the group chats and online just talking about Daygame and theorizing, and they know everything, but they really haven't proven their knowledge with real Daygame lays, whereas you are on the way there. You have your first 4 Daygame lays, you're going out consistently. Well, it's good to hear all of this. Thank you, James, a lot for sharing your story. And I hope to see you one day someplace in person.
That would be amazing. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks for listening, guys. And as I said before, if you have any questions you want to ask James, you can do so in our Daygame Church Telegram group chat, which you can join by heading over to my website, strobert.blog. It is strobert.blog, joining the mailing list, and you will receive the invitation link in the welcome email. And if just as James did, you want to learn how to be more calibrated on days, how to escalate properly without being too much of a nice guy and also not escalating too fast, then head over to daygamecourses.com and go through the free dating course I published there to learn everything you need to know about dates. See you guys in the next podcast episode. Ciao.